Bringing in the harvest, a beautiful and timeless scene played out across Asia and much of the developing world. Domesticated cattle and buffalo have been used for thousands of years in agriculture, transport, and as an important food source. They're essential to the economic fortunes of almost every country on Earth, so their importance cannot be overstated. But a tiny virus is threatening this relationship with cattle and buffalo, and for the past 20 years, the World Organization for Animal Health, the OIE, has been fighting a global battle. The target, FMD, foot and mouth disease. In a small village in eastern Cambodia, farmers use cattle to prepare their land for planting. Without the animals, the labour-intensive task would be nearly impossible.
When there is an outbreak of foot and mouth disease, it really impacts my family because we are not wealthy and we depend on our livestock. It's a really problem if the outbreak lasts for a long period of time because each injection costs up to $1.50. So over time, it might cost up to $25 per animal. I don't have this kind of money, so I have to borrow money, and that means my family goes into debt.
Farmers in neighbouring Laos have a more profitable use for their animals, selling them for their increasingly desirable meat. Across Southeast Asia and China, a surge in meat consumption has led to a dramatic increase in livestock rearing and trading. In Myanmar, much of the land is still cultivated using draft animals, and trading cattle is a lucrative business. Cattle markets in Mandalay's Make-Tilla district on average sell between 200 and 300 head of cattle per day.
We are always aware of FMD here. It can destroy our business, so we know how to treat it and to make sure the cattle are vaccinated. That is really important.
We know the symptoms of FMD very well. The cows froth at the mouth and around the tongue. It won't eat and has trouble walking. It's very lethargic, but doesn't die.
The population has been growing in Southeast Asia, and so has purchasing power, particularly in Vietnam and China. That's led to increased consumption of meat and dairy products, including milk. The high demand has driven up prices for cattle and buffaloes, creating a pool of traders, both large and small scale, across the region.
When an outbreak of FMD occurs, it is a big problem for us, not only for our meat production business, but also for many areas of farming, because we depend a great deal on our draft animals for plowing and transportation.
Increased financial prosperity can disappear rapidly during outbreaks of animal diseases, such as FMD.
If there is an outbreak of FMD, it can hit us hard. The cattle are very weak, and it's not possible to sell them. Vaccinating them against the disease is important because people want healthy cattle, not the sick one. When the cattle are healthy, our income is much better. We can feed our family and send the children to school.
But combating the disease across Southeast Asia and China is an ongoing battle, requiring substantial resources and commitment.
The Southeast Asian and China foot and mouth disease campaign is one of the biggest and most complex animal health programs in the world. It covers all Asian countries, China, with a population of 2 billion people. Complex programs such as these take many years to deliver results. Europe, foot and mouth disease eradicated 25 years, Philippines 10 years. So donor organizations and countries must recognize that this is a long time effort.
Governments in the region have long recognized the devastating impact FMD can have on livelihoods and export potential. But in 1997, 7 countries where FMD was endemic linked up with the OIE. Together, they formed the Southeast Asia Foot and Mouth Disease Campaign to prevent and control the problem across the region.
In Southeast Asia, Myanmar is the second largest country, and there we have a large number of livestock. And the consumption in our neighboring country is very high. So the animal flow, especially livestock flow from Myanmar to the neighboring country is high. So in terms of economics, like we cannot officially export our products to the other country because of FMD. So if we can organize to do the FMD free in Myanmar, so that will be the great benefit for the country's economy.
By 2001, they were joined by Indonesia, and in 2010 by Singapore and Brunei, all countries free of FMD. China, still grappling with FMD, also joined the campaign in 2010, reinforcing its regional significance.
Well, the commitment of individual countries, because they're separate sovereign nations, is to actually manage the program and fund programs within their own boundaries in accordance with their own particular agriculture and economic systems. They must invest. Some richer countries invest a lot of money, some poorer countries require a lot of assistance. But the key thing about the Southeast Asia and China foot and mouth disease program is that it requires a coordinated effort. And this is where OIE comes in, through managing regional coordination through its office in Bangkok.
The economic impact of an FMD outbreak cannot be underestimated, as Thailand's experience shows.
As you know, the value of export in livestock sectors is about $3 billion last 2 years. If Thailand can eradicate FMD, we can increase the value of export of livestock product to maybe $4 billion. Thai government has given priority on the FMD control. Therefore, the Department of Livestock Development has allocated sufficient budget to control the FMD in the whole country. However, we regularly collaborate with our neighbor country to control the disease.
Thailand has been implementing its Animal Epidemics Act strictly in an effort to expand FMD-free areas, and that strategy appears to be paying dividends. Malaysia has been working to expand the FMD-free zones beyond Sabah and Sarawak. In recent years, the country's engagement with the private sector has contributed to a reduced number of FMD outbreaks, and also facilitated imports of disease-free animals from neighbouring countries. China and Vietnam are two major markets for livestock from across the region, and they've invested heavily in vaccination and other measures to control FMD. But because of limited resources, endemic countries in the region still exist. These are the places where OIE assistance and expertise has been critical. Initiatives like pilot vaccination campaigns are proving crucial in containing and preventing the spread of FMD.
Pilot vaccination here in Laos, where you can observe the vaccination going on, and we are doing the same thing also in Myanmar. In Laos, we are doing the pilot vaccination in the northern provinces to control FMD in this area and to make sure that in case of FMD incursion, all the animals are protected. This Upper Mekong is part of what we call the critical point in the movement of cattle, which is a risk in the spread of FMD. If we can control FMD along the risk area, what we call the critical point, we can prevent the spread of FMD to other parts in the Southeast Asia. So this is also to protect other areas in China, also in Vietnam, in Laos, to prevent the spread of FMD when there is an incursion in this area.
Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade has been a major donor in the fight against FMD. In 2010, it substantially increased its funding to the campaign, as well as other activities that contribute to disease prevention and control in the region.
FMD, or foot and mouth disease, is Australia's most costly biosecurity risk. We recognise, though, that in a globalised world, our country will always face the epidemic, the threat of FMD incursion, as long as the disease is endemic in our nearest neighbours. And so that's why Australia, for almost 20 years, since 1997, has supported Southeast Asia's efforts to collectively control and eventually, hopefully, stamp out FMD.
Australia funds an OIE regional initiative in Southeast Asia known as STANS, Stop Transboundary Animal Diseases and Zoonoses. Meanwhile, the European Union funds the OIE's Regional Vaccine Bank for FMD. Together, that's enabled the OIE to support a series of vaccination campaigns in Cambodia, Laos and Myanmar. An effective FMD control strategy should, in addition to vaccinations, be supported by a sound surveillance system, a backbone for early detection and response. The OIE-accredited FMD reference laboratory at Pak Chong in Thailand has enhanced regional diagnostic, surveillance and response capabilities.
To eradicate the disease, we encourage the member country to submit more sample to us, because the more sample that we receive, we can analyze the result and we can figure out the distribution of the foot and mouth disease in the region. And with that information, we can cooperate among countries in member countries and help each other to control and plan to get to the point of the SEACFMD roadmap to eradicate FMD in 2020.
In Laos, a comprehensive FMD vaccination project aims to vaccinate 8 out of 10 cattle and buffaloes in more than 24 high-risk districts across 10 provinces. A robust communications strategy has been key to the project's ongoing success.
One of our campaign is public awareness. Public awareness is play very big role for the control of foot and mouth disease in northern of Laos, because in northern of Laos we have so different ethnicity, different language, different understanding about the animal disease. Why I said this play a very big role, because that can engage and the farmer to bring the animal for vaccination, understanding about the disease control, the way how the disease come, and a very important thing, I think, public awareness to make the people understanding why is that foot and mouth disease important to control that economic impact to household income, for example, or disease can be affect to the daily livelihood, for example. That is, I think, is important.
Significantly reducing, if not completely eradicating, FMD by 2020 may seem impossible, but across the region, many countries have shown that with strong political commitment and adequate resources, FMD can indeed be eradicated. The Philippines, Indonesia, and Sabah and Sarawak in Malaysia have all made significant gains in the fight against FMD, while Singapore and Brunei have successfully maintained their FMD-free status. The campaign's achievements over the past 20 years have been hailed as a model for regional and sub-regional coordination of animal health programs throughout the world.
A globalized world, we have unprecedented movement of people, of commodities in the world, and it is very easy for the virus to take that movement as a channel for spread. So now any country can be attacked at any moment, and one infected country is a threat for all the planet. It is why without global, regional and global policies and strategies, it will be impossible to control efficiently that disease.
Donor countries have recognized the risks posed by the continued circulation of the FMD virus to their own economies, China, Japan, New Zealand and the Republic of Korea have recently provided new doses of funding for the campaign. Vietnam has shown that it's serious in eradicating the disease. It's spent $30 million during the last 5 years alone.
It's essential to have good quality vaccines available to farmers across Vietnam. And that's why government of Vietnam has invested many millions of dollars in facility and resources to help fight against FMD. The epidemiology of the disease means that it can and will change so different regions of the country. The availability of good quality vaccines like we are producing here is absolutely essential.
Despite limited resources, less developed countries are sharing the costs.
In regard with the effort of our region to fight FMD and properly handle and control disease monitoring in our region. And Cambodia is going to be a part of this animal movement. And therefore, I believe also with the benefit from the private sector as enabling the cattle industry environment, the private sector will grow, private sector will participate in this FMD control, and for the government 2015, we regard the FMD control as part of the control of the major diseases, and the government also put enormous budget for this 2015 into our disease control program.
The dream of a region free from foot and mouth disease can become a reality, but it'll take even stronger cooperation and commitment from member countries and continued support from donors and technical partners. But the prize is well worth it. Increased trade and export earnings for member countries and sources of income and improved livelihoods for millions of people across the region.
Our organization has been pivotal for the creation of SEACFMD 20 years ago. And we are very proud that SEACFMD considers as a key tool for FMD control in Asia. And we hope that we will be trusted by our national partner and donors to continue until the final goal.